Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex and I am an English girl living in Ireland. So if you're new here, thank you so much for watching. I am making this channel all about kind of my experiences and life here in Ireland, but not only that, is that a year ago my husband and I and my kids, we bought a farmhouse here in Ireland, so we're definitely quite rural now, so it's just getting used to the rural life, and the house needs so much work doing to it. So if you like a bit of content on renovation, I'm doing bits and pieces of that, and just like I said, adapting to, I suppose, a slower way of life here living in Ireland. So this morning I have done the school run. I have some precious sort of time where I don't have to be anywhere right now or do anything, so I'm going to go for a walk on the beach near to me, and it is very bright and sunny, as you can see. I hope it doesn't affect the video too much, but it is pretty cold out there. I'm going to stick my hat on. I'm going to go for a bit of a, as I say, a walk up and down the bay, and then I'll come back to you guys in a little while. Here's my view for this morning's walk. So I am back from my walk. I'm sorry, I have to keep my sunglasses on because it is just so bright at the moment, which is lovely to see. I think when the sun shines in Ireland, you really have to make the most of it, because if you have ever travelled to Ireland before, you'll know that you have to pack for all weathers. You can see all weathers in one day, and that's probably something that I'll talk about more in a video about how I've sort of adapted to life here. And just some of the quirky ways that I found that that you sort of have to live. I'll catch you all guys a bit later on. It might be later on today, or it might be in a few days time, depending on what I can get done work wise. So I'll probably catch up with you all then for the main part of this video. Okay. So public transport. Now I know anywhere you live rurally, there's not going to be as robust public transport systems. Generally, you do get more choice of public transport in the big towns and cities. But that said, coming from a place where you could get multiple different bus routes to the destination you wanted to get to, or you had the option of jumping on a train, living very close to train stations, it has been a big shock living here rurally. Where I live, you have to travel probably 4 miles to get to the nearest bus stop, and I would say the buses in to the nearest town probably come sort of once every hour or so. That is something that I probably should look into more, but I think the fact that I'm not even quite sure is that it's not really an option. I have to drive to get to my place of work, and I have to drive to take my children to school, so it just isn't an option really to rely on public transport. So that's why we obviously have to run cars where we are. I couldn't imagine not have here. I think I would feel quite isolated. That's my honest sort of reflection, that if I didn't have some means of getting around, I think I would feel a little isolated being based out here. Another thing I've been asked about being based out here in Ireland, and I think more specifically rurally, is really making friends and having sort of connections with others. So I suppose it's unique to everybody's circumstances. I do work full-time, so I obviously, you know, I mix with colleagues, so I have people that I've got to know over the years there, living rurally, but I still work in the same job, so that hasn't changed too much. And having young children, being involved with things in school, obviously again naturally you would be get to know parents at the school gates and things like that. So that has helped in terms of feeling integrated into the community here. That said, I would say it takes time, but it depends on the person you are. I'm naturally quite an introvert, so I would say it took a couple of years for me to feel like I was sort of quite settled, very conscious of sounding different to everyone else. Again, I think that took time just to, not really hear it anymore. I know I sound different, but I don't hear it on a day-to-day basis. So that's good. I'm not so conscious of that. And actually, in my own kids now, they sound, just like the local dialect would be, and it's them making fun of me now. And I say though, living rurally, I think, and again, probably my personality type, I think I do have to force myself to do things. I started started going to a local fitness group about a year ago, just sort of not long after we moved, and that has really helped to get to know more the local town that I now would be closer to me and some of the people in that town. So that has actually really helped me. And again, I think sometimes you just have to push yourself to make that effort, because I know from living here you could very much kind of wrap yourself up in a bit of a bubble. And as much as I enjoy the peace and quiet now, it is important to make those connections with anyone. I mean, when we first moved here, I was able to have my husband's family who lived 10 miles away. They were, I suppose, all I knew at the start, and that was a great help. But again, I know not everyone gets on with family members, so it really is unique to the person's circumstances. But what I can say is, on a whole, the people here generally always very friendly and always very welcoming, so I've not had any issues there. And finally, just actually going back to how welcoming everyone is here and how friendly they are. I've never known a place where people use their car horns to beep and just say hello to people. Where I'm from, you'll be beeping to get people out of the way, or if they're sort of taking their time at the traffic lights. Not here. And I wonder if anyone else has that sort of unique experience. I think that's unique to here, that everyone just beeps to say hello or to wave to people, and that's just part of what I'm used to now. Another thing as well is, when I would go back to England to visit family, I have to stop myself, because I've started smiling and nodding hello to strangers in the street, and I get the most strangest looks of people, but it's because I'm used to being here now, and everyone says hello, you're going out for a walk, even if you don't know them, you nod, say hello, and that just goes to show how there are those sort of key differences. And I'm looked at really strange when I go back to England now. I'm laughing at the last one because I think I get so many questions about the weather in Ireland. So yes, and again, it's all relative to where I think in the UK you come from. I am from the southeast of England, so we would generally have less, it'll definitely be warmer in the spring, summer where I'm from. So yes, that was a bit of a shock to the system. There's been some months here where I feel like it hasn't done anything but rain. Now I can say that today is lovely sunshine outside, and actually we've had quite a run of sunny days here in Ireland, and again it depends on where you are in Ireland, but there's a reason why when you come to Ireland the grass is that luscious green that it is, because it tends to rain a lot. And another thing is the damp here hasn't done me any good in terms of my sinuses. I would say I get sinus infection every winter. I think if you're asthmatic as well, the air is lovely and sort of cleaner, there's less pollution. I've got a child who is slightly asthmatic, and every winter we sort of dread that damp cold air. But that said, I think I've been here a number of years now. I'd say I'm pretty used to it. but it is a factor. And again, if you are affected by the seasons, which some of us are, I would take that into consideration. And if you're coming to visit, pack for all weathers. You need a raincoat, a jumper and an extra layer just to be safe, because you can experience all the weathers here in one day. So that was my 3 things that I've had to adapt to since living here. They're probably my 3 key things that I've noticed a big difference on. So if that's been helpful, please let me know in the comments, or if you have any other questions. I'm really enjoying creating this series about my experiences of relocating, and I think it's really for anyone, maybe not even relocating to a different country. If you're relocating from a town or city to the rural to a rural area, then I'd love to know your experiences as well. So please do let me know, and I will catch up with you in the next video. So thank you for watching.